Hello. Now, according to many practitioners, many experts in the BPM domain, one of the most important components of any BPM implementation is the management of organizational change and related people factors. And that's why we had to devote this lecture in this course. Now, I'm Oktay Türetken, so I'll walk you through this topic of this course. But before we continue, let me ask you a question. Let's start with a question. So what is the ultimate goal of BPM? Now, at this point, what you can do, you can pause the video for a while and just give it a proper thought about it. So why are we really, or what are we aiming at in BPM? Now, if you've done so, let me reveal the answer. So overarching goal, the overall goal of the BPM is to embed process thinking mindset within the organization and with the aim to continually improve and innovate new processes. Okay, now what do we mean by process thinking? Process thinking is basically considering your organization, the organization that you're in, as a set of interrelated end-to-end business processes. Okay, and these processes need to be managed holistically, meaning not just you do not just take a single process and work on it. No, just this BPM initiative has to be organization-wide, and these processes should be subjected to improvement and innovation continually, meaning not continuously, but with some increments. And then finally, we do so in order to increase the efficiency and effectiveness, eventually assuming that we enhance the organizational performance in the overall. Now, you might ask, okay, good, why is this relevant at this point? Now, the organizations often consider the BPM as a one-off activity. For instance, taking one process, model it, improve it, and done. Now, or consider this as a kind of a project which has a start and end point, and that is not a good practice, basically. Now, I wanted to start with this principle of continuity of BPM because it's quite important and connects throughout this lecture, which means, or which says that BPM should not be taken as a one-off project. It should be established as a permanent practice. That's an important principle of BPM, and we have to get that one straight at this the first part of this lecture. What is next then? Now that we know BPM should be a continual activity, okay? And I name all these activities as a BPM initiative, by the way. I mean, it's not a project program, but in general, BPM initiative. And in this course, essentially, you have learned so many techniques, so many tools, you know how to design processes, you know how to model them, analyze them using advanced techniques. These are good, and these are definitely necessary part of any kind of a BPM course. But we also expect our students basically to initiate such BPM initiatives, take part in them, or even manage them properly. So you also need to learn how such initiatives in organizations start and continue. Who initiates them? What type of an approach is a good practice based on the characteristics of the organizations? What factors are involved in the success of these initiatives? As I mentioned, you are very well right now at this stage of the course, very well equipped with many techniques that you can apply in any organization setting. But the question is, under what conditions these are applicable? So do you just go into an organization and just start applying a process mining, just to give you an example? So the answer is to all of these questions are the topic of this course, basically. And as you can see, it will cover a rather broad spectrum of topics. So here's a list of specific modules that we'll cover. We'll start with the concept of business process maturity. Okay, then we'll look at characteristics of organizations at different maturity levels. Now, then we'll spend quite a lot of time, not quite, but at least three modules to be very specifically, on specific BPM or BP maturity models. So I'll very briefly introduce you with some maturity models that are common, that are quite established. Then we'll get into the critical success factors of BPM initiatives, and then we'll also see how context is so important in BPM initiatives. Apart from the book chapter, we have some reading material for these modules. Okay, I mean, if you are ready, let's start, but in a different module. So see you there.